Hey guys, Zoga here, bringing you another video. In today's video, it's going to be a preview slash overview of the Eastern Kingdoms Cup event. Um, First and foremost, I think this event was slightly easier than the Kalendor Cup in terms of difficulty of races. Um, these races, more or less, was just avoiding stuff. That's what I felt. The other Kalimdor Cup uh, was more like finesse, when to hold your vigor, when to use it, what to use, your wayward ascent, your surge. So don't get me wrong, there are some races that require that, but not as much as I felt. So out of the 14 races, I'll just go over quickly how I felt about them. Uh, I do have how many uh, runs it took me to get gold. Some of these I didn't hit record for the videos, so I would have got it done on the first try, but I just wanted to get the gold achievement in the video, so I just restarted it. This one, the first one, the Booty Bay Blast, was, I would say, easy to moderate. It took me the first, unless you really hit something on your on just the normal course, it should be fairly easy to get within the gold time. You should be getting it within 10 seconds of the time. It took me one time, about two times for the advance, and four times for the reverse. Um, for that one, I felt like it was just the jungle terrain. You run into trees, as well as the Gurabashi one. I would say that was moderate to easy, a little bit more to moderate. It's just avoiding terrain. The next one that I did was the Blasted Lands in the rotation. The Blasted Lands bolt. I got that first try and everything. Um, See a lot of these. You just keep on that. For what I'd like to do is just spend your vigor once you have it. See where you're at. See where you need to conserve it. For that, I just kept blowing the vigor and just hitting it, using surges. Once I got that. So I would say that was the easiest one. As well as the next one was, I did actually, the next one I did was the one in Deadwind Pass, which I also got all on the first try. Again, that's just spend your vigor as soon as you get it. See where you're at. So if you haven't done these yet and you want to get the achievement, I do not know if they're going to extend another week like they did the Kalendor Cup, but that is my number one tip, is just kind of just spend your vigor once you get it. Use your surges, avoid everything, and you'll see where you're at. So that one, as well as the one in Red Ridge, I did on. It took me one attempt for each of them. So nothing. It's just same thing. So I would easy. So if you're working your way down from up, you'll definitely a confidence booster, because when I was starting, I was like, man, this is way easier. But then there are the Elwyn Forest Flash, I did have a difficulty with the advanced one, and it was just you gotta there. You'll notice some turns if you want to go wide or sharp, but you're gonna notice, um, you know, I didn't really conserve vigor on that one. It was just maintaining. Don't hit trees. I hit a lot of trees on the advance. The reverse took me one attempt, but the advance I just kept hitting trees. I lumberjacked that one. Um, so we're going into that one I would call moderate to medium difficulty. Before we go any further, you're gonna notice in the playlist, you're gonna notice some numbers. So I highly recommend this for this dragon riding speed run. And you're gonna notice also I do have a weak aura for my dragon riding, and it's just a way to see your speed and how much vigor you're getting back. But the dragon riding speed run, I feel like I don't want to say absolutely necessary, but it is so good when you are like close and you want to know where you're kind of at. It is not perfect, as you will see, but it is pretty accurate to where you're at because it will. You'll notice the red time and the green time in the videos at certain points. It will go down, and that's just if you're red, you're that seconds off of your best run. It's timing you off of your best run. The points where they get the time isn't exactly perfect. It doesn't like pinpoint it. It is like a change of direction, so to speak. So like it senses a change of direction, and that's where it dictates where it's going to put the timer on it. And it's fairly accurate, but the one race it was the fuse light race. It's useless. It just because your change of direction, like if you want to mix it up, how you're going about it, what different levels, if you want to cut faster or go up wayward ascent instead of just surging, it will kind of throw it off, and that if you run into that problem, that is why if it senses a new change of direction. But fairly, you're going to be doing the most like you can't really go off that beaten path if you want to time it that much. So it's going to be fairly accurate. So it's a very good gauge. That's how it keeps you sane. So it's like, okay, you made progress. Like where are you messing up on your run? That is important. Like that is why I recommend spending your vigor once you get it, and then kind of seeing, okay, I'm slow around this. I should conserve it. I want to make this faster, so I'll hold off spending vigor. So that is where I feel like it's really good for, just to kind of give you a feel where you're at. So we'll talk about how I utilize that in a couple more. So after Red Ridge, or actually we talked about Elwyn, Sarian Slalom took me 1 in 10 for each course, so I would rate that as easy. Fuse Light was a pain for me. The advance took me around 5 tries. The reverse took me around 10 tries. And it's all about conserving enough on the reverse for that last. You want to make sure you have enough, about 2 vigor or 1 vigor until you get the last essence that gives you a free vigor for the last part. And that was the most crucial part of that for me. You'll see it in the video. Just to have enough to boost and then wayward ascent up for the last part. And that's, the fire is starting to come up from the mops, kind of how they had it in the Hygel in the Calendar Cup. The next one I did was addon, and it really, not a fairly standard course. There is a lot. You just can keep spending your vigor, and it's not going to be that troublesome for you because there is a lot of orbs out for you to gain. So you kind of want to use it. It took me roughly about 4 attempts for the advanced and reverse, just because I kept hitting fire and got greedy. But I would call that moderate to medium one. And the last Fuse Light, I would say medium to difficult or hard. The next one was Iron Forge. And Iron Forge, there's going to be the little quarry is where I had the most trouble. I kept hitting and just hitting stuff within that in the advanced run. So that took me about 4 attempts to do. And you'll notice in the regular gold video, I completely doing something and I still got gold. So go watch that. Barely by like a second or two, but it was kind of funny. But I got gold. I kept it in. It's just showing you that you can mess up on just the advanced course, and you can still time it. It took me 5 tries for the reverse, and it was the swing back from the quarry going back up the mountain, and you just kind of want to just time that and avoid stuff. And it wasn't more of a technique race more than just avoiding race. And then the fun Twilight Terror. Now this is a finesse race. You're going to want to conserve some vigor and during portions of this. So watch my video and show and on it, and it will show you like when I use and I spend mine. I try not to make it simple because I notice some people just they do crazy camera angles. I'm just using Skyward Ascent and Surge and trying to just cut good corners. But took me 1 attempt for normal, 10 plus attempts for, I think it took me 11 tries for the advance and about 15 for the reverse. So, and it's a finesse, just trying to conserve your vigor for the parts. Krasberg's Clash, I would was very easy. Took me 1 attempt for each except the advance. It took me 2 because I hit a blimp. Other than that, that was very easy. But I would say overall, the Twilight Terror was probably overall the toughest because advance and the reverse were both difficult for me. So that took me a while. Then we go to Eastern Plaguelands, and this is a little bit of a finesse plus avoidance, but it's a little bit of finesse. But this is kind of just spend your vigor, let it rock. I would say this one's moderate to easy. I'm more on the easier side. Took me less than 5 attempts on each. And then Gilneas Gambit. Normal was fine. Advanced took me about 4 tries. You see, I finessed on the saving the vigor on the advance towards the second stretch. But what I want to go into is the advanced portion. And that took me like 20 plus 30 attempts. And it's nothing special. I think the most what gave me the most beneficial was saving at least 3 vigor for like the last run, having that in the tank, kind of spending it, but kind of like using it at the beginning of your vigor, where you're only using it to like heavy while you're recharging your vigor. So like when you're actively recharging, you'll see in the video where it's just actively recharging in the going down. So like you're recharging your vigor, and you want to always have that be recharging, and that's when I used it. And then I started using my boost towards the second half, and that's how I ultimately timed it by a couple seconds actually. So I would say the reverse Vilnius Gambit was the toughest race out there for me, and I think many of you would agree. So overall, in conclusion, I would utilize the Dragon Riding Speedrun add-on, and it will just help you get better. And then, for the most part, avoid stuff. And then last, not last, but thirdly, I would just spend your vigor. Just spend it. See where you're at. See if you miss it a time. Maybe you get lucky. You have a good run your first time, and just spending it. And then you'll kind of see where you want to conserve and you utilize it, and where you think you're going to actually need it, and you kind of feel like you're running out of juice, so you might want to save early. So that's how I mess around, and that's how I get through this. So that was my just spend it, see where you're at, and if you have a bad run and you know you're not timing it, because you once you do it a couple times, you know you're not timing it. For that add-on sake, I would just finish the race just to give you a good attempt. So I wouldn't. It bases you off your last attempt, or your best attempt. So just having that attempt out there just to see where you're at will just give you a good feel for it. Other than that, thanks for watching the videos, and good luck in your journey.